boyfriend by mistake, and now I don't know what to do. Am I wrong for this? Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. All of this started when my sister wanted me to help her figure out if her boyfriend would ever cheat on her. Now, me being the best sister in the world that I am, I said, of course. We opened up a fake Instagram. Then we uploaded pictures for 2 months. We were so invested in this. We even found a girl that lived an hour away and asked her to send us pictures. And of course, we paid her for it. So we basically had this real account. Then my sister told me one day she was ready for me to start sending messages to him through that account. And when I did, he started messaging back, like almost right away. The things he was saying to this girl were so sweet. It was basically like he was just trying to get to know her. I went along with it for a week. But this is when I realized that every time he'd message me, my heart would start pounding and I'd get really excited. By the end of the week, I just realized that I started catching feelings for him. The job my sister asked me to do, I was doing. And in the process, I was falling in love. I was confused and terrorized by my own feelings. I felt guilty, and honestly, I felt really bad for my sister because he was also cheating on her. He wasn't saying anything vulgar, by the way, but he was definitely being super sweet. I decided to wait a whole other week to tell my sister. This meant that for another week, I was messaging him like I was this other girl. And he started wanting to talk on the phone. So I literally got on the phone with him. I changed my voice slightly, and we were talking every single night. He would call me and we'd talk for about half an hour. And during these conversations, we just got to know each other. I felt sick in the head. Mind you, my sister's in the bedroom next to mine. While he was telling my sister that he had to go to bed early for work, he was on the phone with me. By the end of the second week, I knew my time was up. I had all the evidence and I needed to show it to my sister. I waited for her to come home, but only to see that she came with her boyfriend. I nearly passed out when I saw him come into the house. I had the craziest butterflies. He came up and hugged me like he usually does, except this time, I was totally in love. Little did he know that I'd been the one he'd been talking to this whole time. But as soon as he left, I told my sister everything. My sister read those messages for hours. Go to part 2. Fell in love with my sister's boyfriend by mistake. Am I wrong for this? Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. I had been pretending to be somebody else on Instagram to catch him cheating, and it worked. But I fell in love with him in the process. But nonetheless, I told my sister everything. I showed her all the messages that he had been sending this account. It was 2 weeks worth of messages, so my sister read them for hours, crying the entire time. She was completely beside herself. And the whole time, I'm suffering with her too. She is my sister, but I'm also in love with her boyfriend. I also felt like I was technically the other girl. I asked my sister to take a break from looking at the messages, and she did. With tears in her eyes, she looks at me and says, I feel so guilty because I cheated first. Then she started confessing that she only set him up to see if he would cheat on her because she felt guilty that she cheated first. And I want to know what you guys think. Do you think it's cheating if he was talking to another girl on Instagram? Even though it wasn't inappropriate, it was just kind and sweet. Apparently she hooked up with one of our neighbors. She says it only happened once and she feels really guilty about it. She made me swear I would never tell, but I couldn't help it. I texted my sister's boyfriend anonymously telling him that he got cheated on. He confronted my sister right away. She just broke down and started to cry. Then she told him about the fake account and that it was all me, and now he won't talk to me. They actually ended up breaking up. I want to text him so bad and tell him that I love him. What should I do? Self-care sister out.
Story time on how my boyfriend tried to do the nasty with my dog. Okay, so boom, we about to jump right in. So I had a really good boyfriend, and every day after school, he came over to my place. Both my parents worked till late, so we had a lot of time to just have fun. So my dog was a big white Samoyed, and he was obsessed with her. This was kind of a red flag, but I ignored it because, I mean, it's a dog. We dated for 2 months and things just kept getting weird. Second red flag, he paid less and less attention to me when he was over and more to my dog. So one day while he ignored me and played with my dog again, I got a phone call from my teacher. My teacher told me that I had to go to school right this second. I was really confused, but I obviously still went. Even though it was a Saturday, it ended up being a prank, but whatever, just push that to the side for now. I trusted my boyfriend with my dog and to stay home alone, and I went to the school. And this was a big mistake because my boyfriend did the unthinkable. Part 2 on how my boyfriend tried to do the nasty with my dog. Okay, so boom, like I said, I left my boyfriend home alone with my dog and I went to go to the school. The school was actually really close to me, so it really wasn't going to take me that long anyways. When I arrived to the school, there was no one there. All the teachers were gone and the school was locked. It ended up being a stupid prank by my friend, getting me back for when I pranked her. But whatever, I went back home. And I'm sure my boyfriend didn't expect me to come back so quickly. So I went back and I didn't see my boyfriend or my dog in the garden. And the house was empty. At first I thought he kidnapped her, but then I started hearing noises coming from my dog from the basement. I opened the basement door and there it was. My boyfriend pants down trying to do with my dog. My dog ran to me and I locked my boyfriend in the basement. My parents immediately came home and my ex ex got grounded for life. I don't know what else happened to that weirdo, but now I'm dating his ex-best friend and we're happy. And I sneak into my mom's room every night to suck on her toes. Okay, so boom, let's jump right into it. So I'm a 12-year-old boy and I'm secretly in love with my mom. She's just an amazing human being. And she's so pretty. Unfortunately, my dad is still in our lives, so I can't really do anything. But my dad has an overnight job, so every night when he goes to work, I take my chance to sneak into my mom's room and suck on her toes. I just want to be close to her. I just want to feel her any way I can. I've been sucking on my mom's toes for a year now. And I still haven't got caught yet, so should I stop? I mean, I'm not hurting anyone.
Story time about how I found out that my mom fucked my boyfriend. So a little background information. My mom had me whenever she was 15. So we were always super close because we were so close in age. Well, during my senior year of high school, I started dating this guy. I was 18, he was 20. Well, after dating for a little bit, it was time for me to go off to college. And we didn't want to do long distance, so we kind of just cut it off. And instead of going to college, he just wanted to work, so he stayed in my hometown. And he was pretty close with my mom too, because during my school year, he got kicked out of his parents' house and came and stayed with us for like a month. And we're gonna call him Bryce. Well, I get a text from my mother the one day and she's like, "Hey honey, Bryce wants to know if he can come stay here. His parents kicked him out again." And I was like, "No, that's weird. Like, we're not even dating. What the fuck?" And her response was, "Well, honey, I'm a good person, so I'm not going to listen to what you say on this one. He's going to come stay with us." And I wasn't even living there at the time and she was going to let him stay there. Like for part 2. Part 2 about how my mom fucked my boyfriend. So like I said, my mom was trying to be a good person, so she let Bryce stay there. Well, then COVID hit, and my college was basically like, "Yeah, you guys can't stay here anymore, go somewhere else." So I packed up my things and I went home. And she told Bryce that he couldn't stay there anymore because I didn't feel comfortable with it. As she should. Well, then she started acting really weird. Like, she would leave the house at 2 in the morning and wouldn't come back until like 8 in the fucking morning. And the one night while she was making dinner, I saw a text from Bryce pop up on her phone. So I opened it and there were no text messages except one from Bryce saying, "I won't, don't worry." But I didn't ask her about it because I trusted her. Well, the one night I was going to a party and I was in charge of bringing the alcohol. Well, on my way to the party, I realized I forgot the alcohol. So I pull up to my house and I see Bryce's truck outside. So I went around to the window and in the living room, I could see my mom and Bryce fucking on the couch. I took a video, put it on Facebook, and after that, she was labeled a homewrecker in my small town. After that, I found out they had a whole relationship.
My grandma walked in on me and my cousin doing it. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. My grandmother is a 97-year-old woman. She survived the war. As a teenager, she worked in a factory. This woman is made of steel. Well, my 19-year-old cousin, who I hadn't seen in 3 years, came over with his parents. And let me tell you, it was lust at first sight. By the way, I'm an only child, so I am used to getting what I want. And as soon as I saw him, I knew that I wanted him. I know, it's sick and twisted, but he's my third cousin. So I guess it really doesn't count that he's my cousin, right? So 2 months ago, my dad moved my grandma into our house. And we started planning her 97th birthday party. So my cousin and his parents started coming over more often. And every time we would see each other, we would just like stare at each other. We would flirt a little bit. I knew that he was into me just as much as I was into him. Around the 4th time they came over to our house, I asked him if he wanted to see my room. Our parents didn't suspect a thing. In my room, he asked me if he could kiss me. And I said yes. We took off our shirts and started making out. Part 2 is up. As I'm making out with my cousin in my bedroom, I could hear my parents calling from downstairs. We put our shirts back on and pretended like nothing happened. Like I said in part 1, we were planning my 97-year-old grandma's birthday party. So my cousin and his parents were coming around the house pretty often. And every time he would come over to my house, we would pretend that we were going to do something on my laptop upstairs. When in reality, we were just making out. One of the times they came over, my parents started getting pretty drunk. And this was great for me because he and I could just go up to my room and they wouldn't notice. So once we get up there, he starts trying to take off all my clothes. And I'm like, nope. I may make out with my cousin, but I have some self-respect, okay? And I gave in and we did a few naughty things, but I don't kiss and tell. That same weekend was my grandma's birthday party, and I pretty much knew that things were gonna go down with my cousin. He was even planning how it was gonna happen. We would wait until everyone was drunk enough downstairs to come up to my room. So that's what we did. There were so many people at our house for the birthday party. We had music, lights, and catering, so pretty much no one would notice that we were gone. We head up to my room and instantly start taking off our clothes. We're both down to our underwear and start kissing on the bed. That's when we get fully naked.
Get ready with me story time with new makeup products. Also, if you hear anything in the background, I'm watching Tangled. So this story time, hold on. Anyways guys, this story time is about a funny moment that happened in second hour. So I'm gonna go all the way from the beginning. So my second hour class is my English honors class, and we had our teacher for like the whole year, well, half the year. because towards the end of the year, or like not too long ago, maybe like 2 months or 1 month ago, she quit. And there's like a whole reason for why she quit, but that's like a whole nother story time. But anyway, so now since she quit, we have this substitute, and the substitute is like an older lady. And for like people with like older teachers or substitutes who may be older, y'all know that like they have their own separate way of teaching, and like how when they were younger, it's like completely different for how things are now. So this substitute really like picks and chooses who she likes and who she doesn't like. And so there's just one kid that we can say she doesn't like, and we're gonna call this kid Jeremy. So the kid Jeremy, you can say he's like slightly autistic, but like he does everything we can do. Like he's really no different from any of us. It's just some of the stuff he says and does, like he has no shame, like he does not care. So basically when we first get in the class, I guess Jeremy was like looking for something in his book sack, and so he began like taking like everything out of his book sack and like laying it out on the floor. Okay, so we're gonna call the substitute teacher, or our teacher now, Miss Mary. And so Miss Mary did not like that all his stuff was on the floor, like at all. So then she started making like a big deal about how all his stuff is on the floor, and like the class was like laughing about it because just like of how she fusses. Like she's like old but funny. So I guess Jeremy just wants to get out of the room to breathe, so he asks her, can he go to the restroom? And I don't think it was really fair. I think she just said no because she was mad, but she was like, no, you can't go. And then the messed up thing, after she said no to Jeremy, she said yes to like another student and let them go to the restroom. So I guess her saying no to him going to the restroom kind of led to the main plot of the story. So after the whole you can't go to the bathroom thing, everything started dialing down. Like it was nice and quiet, and like everything was good. So like I said, everything was quiet, and then all of a sudden Jeremy raises his hand, and I turned my head because I had a feeling. I was like, he's about to say something just out of pocket. So because his hand is raised, Miss Mary calls on Jeremy, and literally his exact words, he had his Chromebook out and it was opened, and he said, according to the student handbook, you cannot allow, or like you cannot tell us we can't go to the restroom. Go to part 2. Welcome to part 2 of funny thing that happened in my second hour class. But like I was saying, he literally opened his Chromebook and was like, according to the student handbook, you cannot tell us that we cannot go to the restroom. And like everyone was laughing, and I was just looking at him like, I know he did not, because now she's about to do a whole thing. Because like with Miss Mary, she always has to be right. Like she can't be wrong. She can't be wrong in her eyes. So now Miss Mary is getting all like just ready to argue, and she's like, you're incorrect. So now Miss Mary is upset, and she starts going over her classroom rules, and literally half the class was looking at her like dumb, because I was like, in my head I was like, it wasn't your classroom until like a month ago. So I really just didn't understand her logic, but she kept on going. So then she starts going on about how the school says that we can't eat in classrooms and do this and go on our phones and all that. But she was saying all that even though literally the school doesn't care. Like in all of our other classes, we're allowed to go on it as long as like it doesn't distract us from doing our work. Like she's like the only one. So now the class is still technically like kind of now ganging up on her, and Jeremy is not done. So he literally goes up to her desk and is like, he does this. He's like, stop talking, like I said. So of course when he does this, she's like, I know you did not just put your hand in my face, blah, 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 blah. And the class, being the instigators they are, they're like, oh, yes he did, yes he did. Oh, what are you gonna do? Like, so basically at this point, the class is just going crazy because they think it's so funny and they're laughing. Jeremy is still trying to explain the student handbook to our teacher, and the teacher is basically trying to get everyone back in order. So now I don't really know what Jeremy said, but he had said something, and it just set Miss Mary off, and she was like, get out. So now Jeremy is getting sent out of class, and everybody's like, no, Jeremy, justice for Jeremy. And so now this next part is when I was literally like, okay, something is seriously wrong with this lady. So after Jeremy gets sent out, we're like, oh, Miss Mary, you really didn't have to send him out. He really didn't do anything that bad. And she goes, I didn't send him out. I didn't kick him out. And we're like, I'm gonna change my lip combo because I'm not living for it, but that'll come in a bit. But But yeah, so she's like, I didn't kick him out. And everybody's like, Miss Mary, we literally heard the words come out of your mouth talking about some get out. And so now everyone is like getting on her because they're like, Miss Mary, you literally told the boy to get out and now you're denying it. And so now this whole argument basically goes on for the remainder of class until the bell rings for us to go. And so now we're out of class and I get the idea to check my phone. And in the messages, we have a class group chat. Jeremy was literally asking, he said, can he have a witness because he wants to try and get our substitute fired. But I will update you guys until further notice. Get ready with me while I tell you guys how me and my cheer friends got attacked on the beach by a crab. So this story time is like really funny and I don't have a headband, so we're just gonna use sunglasses. Also, please ignore background noise. I'm watching Bridgerton. Okay, so this story time starts off in Alabama because this all happened this weekend. I had a competition in Alabama. So where we stayed, it was like a really nice resort and it was a really big building, and outside of the building, like you walked, it was like connected to a beach. I changed from sunglasses to this. But yeah, so we were at the resort on the beach, and so I think it was the night before our competition, we all decided that we wanted to go crabbing. So just to give y'all details, so at this resort, it was like quite a lot of us there. It was me, my mom, one of my teammates, her sister and her two brothers with her dad, her mom, and then our coach was there along with our coach's friend and her daughter. So yes, there was a lot of us, but it all worked out fine. Okay, now let me quickly explain what crabbing is. So for those who don't know, crabbing is like basically when you go to the beach like late at night, and normally on beaches at night is when crabs start to come out of like the sand. My air vent turned on, guys, so please ignore that. But yeah, so growing up I always went crabbing. I never caught the crab, but I loved watching like family members catch them, and I still did not catch them when we went out there, but I do have videos to like show y'all, which is hilarious. But let me get to the main plot. So basically we decided to go out crabbing. I don't remember like at what time, but it was kind of late but not too late. And so we were out there, all of us together, and we began to start crabbing. So while we're out there, we're expecting we're expecting a lot of crabs, especially me, because when I go crabbing, like I normally go crabbing in like Florida and stuff, there would be like so many crabs on the beach. But like I was saying, I was expecting a lot of crabs, but while crabbing, we really did not see any big ones. Like we literally saw like medium-sized one and like very tiny baby one. So like I said before, I'm not the one to do the crabbing and like catch them, but I do like watching. So like every time someone would be like, oh wait, why am I blending this out? Like I was saying, every time someone would be like, oh my god, I caught a crab, I would like run over, but I would keep my fair distance. And so now here comes the really good part. So we're all kind of split up. Like it's like, I don't know, we're split up, but at the same time we're together. And all of a sudden my teammate is like, oh my god, I caught one, but like this time she's really loud and excited, and I'm like, So I was a bit like confused because with all the other crabs she caught, she didn't sound this excited. So obviously since she's yelling she caught a crab, everyone is like running over there. And I'm not even lying, guys, I might sound dramatic, but like she caught one of the biggest crabs I have ever seen someone catch while crabbing. So I'm out of time to go to part 2 to see what the crab looked like. Welcome to part 2 about how me and my friends got attacked on the beach by a crab. And like I said in the last one, ignore the background noise. I'm watching Bridgerton while I'm doing my makeup. But like I said in part 1, she was screaming that she caught a crab, and we ran over there, and like I said, it was probably one of the biggest crabs I have seen someone catch while crabbing. So here is what it looks like. Oh my gosh! So to some that might not be big, but to me that is like a pretty decent sized crab. And so basically we were trying to move it to another bucket that had like a lid on it because we wanted to take it upstairs to show like the boys, because like my cheer friend's dad and like one of the other girls' dad, like all the boys were in the room, and we thought it was so cool, so we were like, oh my god, let's save them and then let's go show them. So we go and we show, like once we finish, because that was like the last crab that she caught, which is kind of crazy that that was the last one. So after she caught that crab, we were kind of like, all right, let's call it a night and let's just go show them. So we show them the crabs, and for those who know, with crabbing, you cannot keep the crabs, because I made that mistake before, and we opened that lid, it smelled like death. Like I've never smelled something so bad before, but like keeping crabs is like the worst mistake you can make ever. Like your nose will hate you forever. So obviously we have to bring the crabs back out. So my cheermate's mom was like, Dylan, my cheermate, and my cheermate's brother go bring the crabs out. So when she said that, I wasn't really thinking anything of it because I'm like, what is so hard about letting some crabs go? Like, I'm thinking it's about to be the easiest thing in the world. Side note, it wasn't. So where we went to drop the crabs off, it was like on like the walkway to where you, like the walkway that connects to the beach. And with the walkway, there's like a ledge and it's like pretty like thick, so you wouldn't think a crab could like get up there to where we were, but clearly we were wrong. So this is when we released them. And so now since we released the crabs, we were leaving, but obviously we wanted to like look and like see where they were going, especially the big one. And we weren't expecting this like at all, but tell me why the big crab climbed on top of like the little bridge we were on and started like running towards us. And like y'all, I was terrified because like my two friends, they were on the side that was closest to like the door, and so the crab, I was on this side, they were on this side, and the crab ran in the middle and I was on the other side, so it was more prone to like run towards me. And I was like so scared, like I started sprinting like I was a track star. And trust, I also have that video. So this is when we began. Watch the crab.
He's gonna get me! He's trying to get me! He's trying to get me! Oh no! Stop!
And it was right there. But that's it, guys. Tell me your thoughts in the comments.